city administration would like to enter into a contract with Paint Creek Fire District. The city of Hillsborough will pay the millage equivalent of approximately $554,000. This millage equivalent is determined and set forth by the county auditor and is spelled out in the payment for service terms within this contract. It could fluctuate from year to year. It could go up and it could go down, but ultimately it is determined by the county auditor. The contract also, as was described tonight, is for 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The main goal of this contract is to maintain safety levels for the city of Hillsborough that we currently have, and that is an ISO rating of 5. The manpower that will be provided with this contract would include firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs, and would be made up of full-time, part-time, and volunteer basis. We, the city of Hillsborough, would maintain the building. The city of Hillsborough would maintain our equipment. Neither the building nor the equipment would become property of Paint Creek. The Paint Creek District will not man our building. They would maintain their living quarters in the center of town. The start date of the agreement, as was mentioned, would be January 1st at 12:01. Also in the agreement, you'll see that the effective date of the contract would be December 1st of 2013. The reason for the effective date being different from the start date is we would allow time for Paint Creek to get the insurances that they would need for the equipment, and also they would also need time to prepare the manning that they would have to bring to Hillsborough. And there also will be no vote upon the Fire District Board of Trustees with the Paint Creek District while we do contract. However, the city has the right to attend those meetings and voice any and all concerns at those meetings. Again, to contract with the district would cost the city $554,000. The current fire department with 6 employees will cost the city approximately $1.152 million next year alone. So if we contract with the district, we will be saving approximately $600,000.
Do you expect our millage to be raised? All right. The difference between the $554,000 and the $590,000, I guess, we're talking about $40,000 difference, and it probably would be even a smaller difference than that after all the costs come in. So why give up our fire department for such a small gain? And why not, since we're not in any kind of emergency situation, why not put this matter to the voters and have it resolved in the May primary? That's just a short time from now. Have the courage to do that instead of just rushing this through.
Right now, what we have to do is talk about moving forward. We have to move forward, and we have to do that based upon the numbers that we have now. We can't base it upon what we used to get. We can't base it upon what we might get. We have to base it upon what we currently have.
And if the Hillsborough Fire Department could come to City Council and show you that they could run a fire department as adequately as Paint Creek could for roughly the same amount, $50,000 or so, would you guys reconsider?
Certainly, we would entertain anything that was brought before council.
When you're evaluating this project, I mean, I look at it from, you got quality, you got time as far as the response time of the unit, and then you also have cost. And really, this comes down to more of a cost structure issue. And even the time responses, from what I've seen from both departments, is very good. I mean, both departments are doing an incredible job. And so, I mean, if they could come, if an existing fire department could come in with a cost structure that would be competitive, I would say it'd be better to stay with the existing fire department, because you wouldn't have the transition cost. But when the costs start getting, exorbitantly different between the two, you have to make a decision, especially in today's economy.
If this decision is strictly financial, it's kind of the implication I'm getting from you. Why is the vote scheduled 2 weeks before before our first negotiation with the city. We've told the city's attorneys countless times over the last 12 months that those concessions were still on the table. We'd like to talk to them about it. We've offered several memorandums of understanding, offering the use of part-time, the use of volunteer, to cut costs. Not a single one of them's been acted on.
I did a complete year tour, and I come back and we're still dealing with this issue. So, I mean, this is not a new issue. And right now, I look at it as you have the specs of Paint Creek's.
But right now, we're stacking 2 guys per shift. If a house catches on fire, you don't have enough guys to be able to do what you were trained to do. Those are things that I think, you know, if you're gonna come up with something, that you...
All those things have been addressed in the offers we've made and what I put together.
What we get from Paint Creek is we get a fire chief, we get captains, we get paramedics, we get EMTs, we get firefighters, we get it all. We have 2 ambulances with the Paint Creek district that'll run. Right now, we have 1.
Everything we have for Hillsborough has nothing to do with the people in Hillsborough. Okay? The Wagner's insurance, they got put out for somebody else. The fire department will be replaced with something else. It's this, that, and the other. Don't blame or turn your head, because you guys will be gone too. Most of them elected to represent the city of Hillsborough residents. Where are we gaining? I mean, you know, a few $1,000s, few 50, 60, whatever, $1,000. You know, you're throwing out one of your most valuable services the city has to offer. Each and every one of you are Hillsborough residents. You need to represent your citizens of Hillsborough. Truly represent citizens of Hillsborough. Not an agenda. Nobody's going to, I'm not going to hide under a rock right now. The mayor's having an agenda to get rid of the fire department. Everyone knows how those negotiations with the townships. But it's not pretty. A couple of other things that just prove that this administration can be bullish, and that's unacceptable. You know, there's a way to take care of things, and this isn't it. Getting rid of our fire department is the biggest mistake you can make, because what's going to happen next? It's going to be the police department. It's going to be the street department, and before you know it, it's not going to be Hillsborough, it's going to be Hastings. That's what's it.
Amen.
Never in my career here have I had so much animosity and painful communications. We have never used lawyers before. We sat down like grown adults, hashed out contracts for years and years and years and years and years, and never had to involve lawyers on our end. We sat down and made an agreement. We have not had that seat at the table. And I'm embarrassed to say that, because I have lived here since 1994, and into 95. I made this town my home. Now I'm embarrassed to say that this is where I live. A contract now that says sufficient staffing. What is sufficient staffing? Once you sign that contract and write off your ability to have a vote and say anything on that board, sufficient staffing could be 3.
I don't think our firefighters stand a chance. I sense hostility. I sense their history. I think that's wrong to do that to a group of people without giving them an opportunity to sit across the table from you and negotiate. We should put this to a popular vote and not take an department and destroy it.
Hear, hear.
It's wrong, people. It's wrong to do that.